Good afternoon, and another beautiful day here in Lake Como, as you've just seen, although it is a little bit misty today. So this is where I'm actually recording my album, and I just want to share with you through these videos a bit of an insight into the recording process, how I'm choosing the songs for the album. We're going to do a retrospective look at the songs I've done previously so you can see how they were made. Share with you some of the music videos, and then as we get on to new tracks, how I've selected the tracks, how I record the songs, make the music videos and the photo shoots, etc. So hopefully it will give you a bit of an insight into the whole process. So I thought today we would start at the very beginning, and with my first single, which was, if you remember, When I'm With You. So yeah, it was the midst of lockdown in 2021, and I was doing a bit of a blog on Twitter, and basically I was choosing songs for a show reel. Now, a show reel is something a lot of singers and actors do put together to showcase their work and their abilities, etc. And I was basically blogging about choosing the songs for that show reel. And a gentleman called David Wilkes at DWP Records in Australia contacted me and says, I have a brand new song, would you be interested in recording? So he sent me the song over and I immediately said yes. Now, looking back on it now and from memory, I've got it in my head that it was all done all very quick, probably within 24 hours, but I think it did actually take a little bit longer than that. The song was, I say, initially recorded in 2021, and it was released through DWP Records, which is a small independent record label in Australia. And it was also jointly released with another record company, Odessa Mama. And I don't quite know the reasons we did that. I think there was a good relationship there with David Wilkes and Odessa Mama. And also at the time, it was all very new for me. I'd never released a song before. I didn't know anything about distribution, etc. But I do all that side of things myself now. So yeah, I say it's been a learning curve, and you're learning things all the time through this process. So the song was sent over to me, and I'm going to play a clip of it shortly, just so that you can get an idea of how I first hear the track. I don't write anything myself, so the record companies or the writers send me the tracks and the ideas. I do have an input on how I would like the song to sound. As you're probably aware, if you've listened to my songs, they're all very sort of a retro 80s Stock Aitken Waterman type sound. That I know it sounds probably dated compared to the music in today's market, but I'm doing this really for a bit of fun. I'm not there to compete with some of the artists that are around now, and it's that sound that I really enjoy recording and doing. So yeah, I do it for myself, and hopefully you enjoy some of the songs as well. So David Wilkes sent me the song, and I actually use a piece of software known as a DAW, but I use a very cheap one. In fact, it's free with Apple Mac, called GarageBand. Now, maybe if I was doing the production side of things myself, I might actually invest in some decent software, but it is very expensive. I think Cubase now is about £400 or £500, somewhere along those lines. So at the moment, GarageBand does me fine. I'm only capturing a vocal, and it works very well for me. I know some of you out there might have different opinions about the software, but apparently it works very well for the record companies as well. So when I've been speaking to producers in the past, they've actually said that when I send over the file in GarageBand, the vocal files, when they import it into their DAW software, it's all in time and there's never any issues with synchronization, etc. So yeah, for now, I'll continue to do it that way. Now, I'm going to flip my camera around so you can see my screen. But when the song comes through, and this is the original tracks for When I'm With You, and you can see all the tracks there individually done. And there is actually a vocal on here as well. So I'll just play a clip for you. You can hear it's very tinny. And there is a vocal, it's a computer vocal. So yeah, you can see it does take a bit of an imagination there to what actually the track will or did sound like when it was produced. So I recorded the vocal, and then we used Dropbox, and I Dropboxed it back over to the record company in Australia. And that's actually very much how a lot of artists work now. You hear a lot of songs are done in bedrooms, etc. I actually heard that Kylie's new album was done in hotel rooms. So yeah, it's nowadays there's no real need to go into a recording studio. It can be done from home. Although I have to say, it can be a challenge here. There's always, I say, something going on, and at the moment you probably can't hear, but in the background there are dogs barking and things going on outside and traffic noise, etc. So to actually capture a really good vocal is very, very challenging for me here. And I'm also conscious about making a lot of noise, because we're in an apartment and I can hear the neighbours, so I'm sure they can hear me when I'm making a noise. So I'm actually going to look around in the local town to see if there is a community hall or a meeting room or something that I can use. I can make as much noise as I want, and hopefully we can lay down some good vocals for the next songs that I've started working on. So When I'm With You, it came out in 2021. It was a very nice little song. It's got a catchy chorus. I probably wasn't as experienced as I am now with doing the vocal recording, so I probably would have done things a little bit different. I borrowed a lot of the equipment to do the vocal recording, and and it was released during lockdown, so a lot of the bars and the clubs were closed, and it is a track that really you can get up and dance to. So it probably didn't get the same level of exposure that it probably would have normally got had we put a big promotion campaign behind it and got it out to all the DJs, etc. So after it was released, we did do a second single with David Wilkes, and that was called Everyone Wins, which I'm sure if you've listened to my songs, you'll be familiar with. And then we were working on a third single called Magic in Your Eyes, but it wasn't quite coming together that well. And by then I'd released a couple of singles, and I was a bit conscious that I wanted to keep the momentum going. So I thought When I'm With You still had got legs, and I think it could have got a lot more exposure. So I approached Sakra, and if you are familiar with Sakra's work, he does a lot of these retro 80s remixes. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And so I approached Sakra and said, would you be interested in remixing When I'm With You? And luckily he said yes. And so we released the Sakra remix, and it had an official release. Now by then, I say we not say we'd run out of ideas, but we wanted to keep the momentum going. And at about that time, David Buswell from Crazy Dog Records in Leicester, which is actually very close to where I was living, approached me and said, would I like to collaborate with some songs with him? So there was no big fallout with David Wilkes at DWP Records. It just basically naturally moved on. Now, initially, as I've started to put the album together, I wasn't sure whether I would include When I'm With You and the follow-up single Everyone Wins on the album. But I've actually been talking to David Wilkes recently, and he's actually working on some new material for me. And hopefully in the coming weeks, I'll be able to share those tracks with you. Now, just to end things today, the video process. All I can say is the video was done on a very, very low budget. It was actually filmed in my dining room. And so we needed a white wall with some spotlights, smoke machine, and all done very, very cheap. when we did the remix of When I'm With You, we didn't really refilm the whole thing. I just basically did some new shots and put those back in. And again, actually doing the video myself, I've learned the software since then and how to do effects and transitions and things in music videos. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I have actually done a few lyric videos for other artists now. So I do feel I've come a long way on that side of things. And the video is actually, that side of things is very, very difficult for me because I say I haven't got unlimited funds for doing this. It was a bit of a sideline when I first started, and yeah, and it can be very expensive to do video production. So I have been doing a lot of the videos myself, but maybe actually now we're here in Lake Como, I might try and incorporate some of the beautiful scenery that's around us and get some of that into my next video. So who knows? Let's see. Anyway, hope you've that's given you a bit of an insight into my first couple of tracks. So When I'm With You and Everyone Wins. And then in the next video, we'll talk about the songs that I did with Dave Buswell and Crazy Dog Records. Okay, take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.